Here I am in Photoshop and I have my layers panel open and I have my gray swatches ready, which means that I'm ready to bring my picture into the document. So here's how we do that. When you have your picture, so you found it online or you took it on your phone or you chose one of my pictures, so you want to download that onto your computer into a place you can find it, and then you can just go to wherever your documents are, select that thumbnail, and just drag it right into Photoshop, and it just places it there for you. Now we hit the check mark, which tells Photoshop that we want to keep this picture. And I want to point out this icon. I can't zoom into it because you can't zoom in onto the layers, but there's this icon here which shows that it's a smart object. What we want to do is rasterize this picture. So I'm going to go to Layer, Rasterize, and then rasterize this smart object. And now that icon goes away. Once I have that, I want to point out something else. This picture is it's straight on, and it's when I took this picture and it's a little crooked. I guess I didn't have such a great angle on it. If your pictures are in perspective and they go back in space, it's not as noticeable if they're not straight. But if you have a picture that's head on like this, it's really noticeable that it's tilted and it looks like it's falling. We can in Photoshop fix that. So that's what I'm going to do, and you fix it by finding the crop tool. It's down here, and then you can hit this suitcase looking thing, and it's the straighten tool, and what you do is you click and you just drag across to wherever a straight line should be. This is 1.1 degrees off, and it just straightens out my picture. Okay, good. So now that's good. I have the picture, and now I want to resize it. Our document, and I just went to the move tool to get crop gone. So our document is 11 by 17, and my picture is not 11 by 17, so I want to resize it. I'm going to go to Free Transform, and you can get that by hitting Command T in a Mac or Control T in a PC. And now what you want to do is just drag from the corners. In Illustrator, you need to hit Shift when you're resizing things to constrain the proportions. In Photoshop, you actually would hit Shift to not constrain the proportions. So we're just dragging this box without hitting Shift, and then you just hit the check mark. So now I have my picture, and it's the right size. You'll notice that your pictures might not fit the right thing, so you end up cropping some of it out, and then you get to decide what part of the picture you want to include. I'm including this middle part, and that is a design choice that you get to make. The next step we're going to do is to help see our progress, and I'm just going to make a new layer. You can make a new layer by, in the layers panel, if you see this plus sign in a square, you hit plus, and that's how you make a new layer. And I'm going to fill that layer with a color, and it doesn't really matter what color it is. I happen to like orange, so I'm going to use orange. It might be different in different videos, depending on my mood or my progress. But let's just start with orange, and I'm going to I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and I'm just going to fill that entire layer with orange. So now I have this orange layer, and I can turn it off and on. And the reason I do that is so that way when I make the buildings later, and I'm going to explain this in more detail rather than just showing it to you like this one time. I'm using the polygon lasso tool to trace this, and I'm going to fill it in, and I'm going to find my paint bucket tool that's right here, and if I fill this in on its own layer, and I'm hitting Command D to deselect, if I turn layer 1 on with the orange, I can now see my progress a little bit more clearly than if it's just on this picture. And you'll see that as you go. Another thing that we can do, and you don't have to do this, but I find that some people find it helpful, is we can turn the picture into a grayscale image. And the way that you would do that is by going to Image, Adjustments, Use Saturation, and you would just take the saturation down to 0. And now our picture is in grayscale. And the reason people find that helpful is because it gives them a better idea of which grades to choose as they progress. Okay, now you are ready to create your buildings. And for that, you can watch the next video.